Let's charge the mound. It's presented by the Fox One app. MLB.com put power rankings out there for the World Baseball Classic teams that they think are in the best standing. And they're, I think, factoring in some past performance, as you should. As good as the Team USA roster looks on paper, they did not win last time around. So MLB.com put Japan number 1. They still have the best player in the world in Ohtani, even if he doesn't pitch. I still think he might in the right situation. They still have one of the best pitchers and one of the most clutch guys on the mound starting games for them in Yoshi Yamamoto, Seiya Suzuki, and many others part of that lineup. I'll just run through the rest, and then I'll let you guys slice and dice. AJ's going to be calling some of these games coming up. Team USA is in the 2 slot. Then they have the Dominican Republic, led by guys like Vladdy Jr., Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Venezuela, featuring guys like Ronald Acuna Jr., Ranger Suarez on the mound, William Contreras, and they have Team Mexico at 5, Puerto Rico 6, Korea 7, Canada 8, Colombia 9, Netherlands 10, Chinese Taipei 11, and Team Italy at 12. Focusing on the top 5, AJ, any places that you would mix and match?
I think a lot of the players, now that we're on Japan, have started to trickle over to the United States. People have seen them more. They have more bats. They're not at full strength like they have been in the past, just because of worries about different things. And I think that USA has finally gotten to a point where they're starting to get a lot of, not all, but a lot of their best pitchers. Skeens 2 starts, Logan Webb 2 starts, Skubal. Yes, I know everyone's complaining, but it's still 55 pitches against Great Britain, right? Then they have Matthew Boyd. They have a lot of their best players, position players. Look at that lineup today and tell me that's not a good lineup. Right. And then they're starting to get a lot of the best pitchers. So I think USA wants to win. They need to win this one. Japan has 3. USA only has 1. It's time, USA. So it's time. Plus, I might work for USA Baseball at one point coming up soon. So, of course, I'm rooting for the USA. I'm biased.
I mean, you are the most chameleon person I've ever seen. Somebody from New York. Yo, bro, I'm from New York. Yo, Chicago. I love Chicago. Yo, I'm from Florida. Yo, I'm with Coach Team Poland. Nah, it's going to be Team USA. Whatever it is. Either way, I believe that Team USA is the most talented team. But when we talk about power rankings, I'm viewing it as who has the best chance of winning. And I still think, until it doesn't happen, Japan has the best chance of winning this. Maybe they don't have the best talent. Maybe there's talent we don't see. Like AJ said, some of these guys, you're starting to see Seiya. You've seen Ohtani forever. You've seen Yamamoto. So these guys have an idea of what they're actually bringing to the table. The reality is, these dudes have been playing and are game ready sooner. They haven't been playing their season, but Team Japan, they call them, in other years, they call it Team Samurai. They have like almost like a camp where they're coming together and they're staying ready. What that looks like, I have no idea. One of the guys told me about it when we played over there. They stay ready differently than our pitchers do, than our hitters do. And so it's something that you get the opportunity to be together as a team a lot longer than Team USA, a lot longer than the DR, a lot longer than Venezuela. All teams that have a lot of talent, just like Japan, but they've been playing together, working together, and they're ramped up to a different point, minus the guys who are on big league teams in MLB. But it's just different, and I think it gives them a very distinct advantage in this tournament, where it's like Team USA, Dominican, Venezuela. They're going to go out, and it's like, hey, if this star can do something, they're going to beat you. Where Japan's going to lay that bunt down. They're going to move the runner over. They're going to do things to be able to win tournament-style baseball.
By the way, Aaron Judge is the captain of Team USA. What'll mean more to him? Or what's bigger, winning the WBC or getting a World Series with the Yankees?
Obviously. World Series with the Yanks, obviously.
No, I mean, he said, no, you can't say that, Scott, because you said the other day that this means more than the playoff game.
Get off your stump. Scott. Get off your stump. We're about to call those. You can like both. You need to add them. And hey, he's got a much better chance of winning a World Baseball Classic right now with the team that he's sporting out there. I mean, it's the facts.
And by the way, we didn't even mention the DR. The DR team is stacked.
Well, that was going to be my follow here. Yeah, I think the rankings are fine, but the DR is stacked. You're right, AJ, and it's not just the lineup. The lineup can keep up with any other lineup. I'm like Christopher Sanchez, Sandy Alcantara, 1-2 in the rotation, and they're going to let them go, right? They're going to let them eat. They're going to get their turns. USA has to do a little more mixing and matching. We learned not just Skugel pitching against Great Britain. It's going to be 55 pitches. Then he goes home. He's not going to pitch again. So there will be a little more puzzle piece solving for Team USA versus a team like the Dominican Republic that's just going to probably roll those four or maybe one other, right, for one or two turns here in the tournament. And they're going to make sure they line those guys up the way that they need to line up, where Team USA has to kind of tinker with, okay, how many days rest does he get? Like, it's just going to be a little bit different in my mind for Team USA. That'll be the trick, is getting through all of the rules that some of the pitchers have. Anyway, we'll talk much more about this, of course. 47 games, and it starts tomorrow. 47 WBC games starting tomorrow on the Fox One app. You can stream the World Baseball Classic live from March 6th through the 14th. Yes, I know tomorrow's the 4th because those games start overseas. And start your 7-day free trial at fox1.com. We're super pumped about it. We'll talk more about it every single day. Fox One, by the way, the app, you can stream all your Fox favorites together in one place, and they have a ton of sports coverage all season long, NFL, college football with Big Noon, the whole deal, and then the baseball season starting up right after the World Baseball Classic. So again, start your free 7-day trial today on the Fox One app at fox1.com.
Joel Sherman here for Three Things. I'm in Arizona for the last few days. I'm here for a few more days. Over the weekend, I spent some time at Dodger camp, and obviously they're a huge story of this season. They were the first team to repeat as champions since the Yankees of 1998 and 2000. It means they'll be the first team that has a chance to three-peat since those 1998 to 2000 Yankees. And the way they have spent money, accumulated stars, and maybe distanced themselves from everyone else has created a furor around them. Are they bad for baseball? Do we need a salary cap in MLB to contain a team like them? And so why don't we deal with all things Dodgers today on Three Things, and start with number one, which was, unfortunately, I am old enough that I covered the extent of that last dynasty. The Yankees won a championship in 1996, and then 1998 to 2000, they won the 3 in a row. They got to another World Series in 01 to Game 7, in 03, and they got to Game 7 of the ALCS in 04. And I remember back then hearing that this will never end. The Yankees will just keep buying championships. It's bad for baseball. And I think the opposite was true. I think dynasties are actually good for the sport. It allows fans to do what's happening now, focus hatred and energy towards a team, unless, of course, you're a Dodger fan, and for teams to be competitive, figure out how to keep up with the best teams in the sport. And then here's a reminder. Everything ends. When I was a kid, if you told me there'd be no Radio Shack today, I'd go, are you crazy? I'm sure people who lived through the Roman Empire went, the Roman Empire is going to end. And again, I lived through the Yankee dynasty. I watched it end. Guys got older at kind of the same time. Brocious, O'Neill, Tino. There was no next core four, nothing close to even be able to fill in the gaps for what was an historic group at one time to come to one place. It's just not really been matched in Major League history when you take the core four plus Bernie Williams for homegrown players of that level. And at some point, you've got to change it over. And the reality is the championship Yankees did not spend on free agency and in big players the way that the teams that began to not win championships did. Jason Giambi, Gary Sheffield, Alex Rodriguez, Randy Johnson, Kevin Brown, they couldn't hold the weight of those championship expectations. They couldn't come through. And kind of like maybe in somewhat of an irony, it feels like that dynasty, though they didn't win it, they last won in 2000. They were so good those following years that through 2004, until the Red Sox won, that felt like, to me, the dynasty, 96 to 2004. And the signature play in 2004 of the Red Sox rallying from 0-3 down is Dave Roberts stealing second base with Mariano Rivera on the ninth and ready to close out the Dodgers and sweep them and get back to the World Series. Dave Roberts is now the manager of the Dodgers in this full circle world. And one of the things we learned is there's ways to go about this. The Red Sox decided to go dollar for dollar with the Dodgers, with the Yankees, and built up and also were way ahead on some of the Moneyball principles of being able to find and develop players. And they ended up starting with that 2014, winning 4 championships since then. The Yankees have won 1. So the Red Sox were able to do it. There are teams that have been able, with lower payrolls, to figure out ways to navigate and be really good. I mean, from 2008 until 2023, that's a 16-year period. The Dodgers and Yankees had the best record in the sport. The third best record in the sport is the Blue Jays, who went to more World Series too than the Yankees won. There's no crying in baseball. Figure out how to beat the Dodgers. I mean, that's part of competition. Stop crying and figure it out. This will not last forever, which maybe brings us to number 2. Hey, the Dodgers have really, really got it going on, but part of it going on is they signed one of the greatest contracts in history, the Shohei Ohtani contract, which only cost them $2 million in real money per year. It's 10 years, it's 70 per year, $700 million, but $68 million a year is deferred. And they bring in so much money because of just Ohtani, and he helped be able to recruit Yamamoto to the Dodgers, ultimately Roki Sasaki. It's given them real advantages. But in some of the other places, they're still great players, but you did see the beginning of aging maybe on Betts and Freeman last year. Will they be replaced well? There's a lot of talk about how great the Dodger farm system is. I think that it is really good, but what it's mainly really good at is people thinking it's really good and them being able to trade for what they need when they need it. But if you go look at who the best players are who signed their original contract with the Dodgers, most of them who had successful seasons last year, a lot of them predate this Andrew Friedman administration, which starts in 2015. Cody Bellinger was drafted before then. Seager was drafted before then. Nathan Eovaldi was drafted before then. The best of this group, Michael Busch, who got traded, wasn't a very big trade for the Dodgers. Will Smith, really good for the Dodgers. Andy Pajas. That's the best position guys that the Dodgers have developed that are playing for the Dodgers. Do you count Yamamoto as a developed player? They signed him? Okay. If not, is the next best pitcher Eovaldi? Again, predates them. Dean Kramer from the Orioles. Again, there is a perception that they've created some kind of core 4-ish situation there. The reality is they've really pumped their prospects and be able to trade them for what they want. But when they have to replace guys internally, will it actually last forever? I'm not really sure, but we'll see. Which brings us to number 3. There's been a lot of chances to beat the Dodgers the last 2 years as this unbeatable team. They've played 4 elimination games. They're 4-0 in those games. I mean, there is a chance that if you played the White Sox or the Rockies in 4 games, they would win one of those games. The Dodgers have won all 4. Let's think about those 4 games. 2 are against San Diego in the division series of 2024. San Diego's up 2-1. By the way, if the Padres win one of those next 2 games, Dave Roberts is going to get fired because that would be 3 straight years in a row the Dodgers got knocked out in the division series. I think even Roberts would concede it would be over for him. Instead, they win the World Series. They win last year's World Series. Now he's going to Cooperstown instead of trying to figure out if he could get a job someplace else. Last year in the World Series, the Blue Jays go home to Toronto up 3-2. They've got to win one of the last 2 games. I think if you watched every inning of that 7-game series and didn't know the final score of any games, it would feel like a 10-8 round in boxing. I thought the Blue Jays won that World Series in every way except for winning the World Series. They had chances to win Game 6 and 7 for sure and didn't. By the way, the Yankees, if they could field it all in 2024, might have won the World Series. 2025 Division Series last year, if Orion Kerkering could be able to do a regular pitcher fielding practice, throw to the plate, the Phillies might beat the Dodgers in the Division Series. They never get to that classic World Series against the Blue Jays. They are beatable. I know everyone wants to make them unbeatable. I know, hey, how can the Brewers ever beat them? See, they got beat 4-0 in the NLCS. They actually won the season series 6-0 during the season. There are ways to beat them, but I'll leave you with this. The Dodgers currently remind me of the championship Yankees in 2 ways. One, they have incredible grace under pressure. So they have played so many big games now. This group of players, going back not just the last 2 years, but longer than that, that nothing that's going to come up in the postseason is going, like nerves isn't going to be a part of beating the Dodgers. They're going to, like those Yankees were up for the fight. They weren't nervous about the fight. They were ready for the fight. And these Dodgers are ready for the fight. So you better show up ready for the fight. Number 2, those Yankees and these Dodgers had 2 ways to win a game. Number 1, they were both extraordinarily talented, so they could win. The second way they win is you lose. The Yankees not completing a 3-1 play between Anthony Rizzo and Garrett Cole. They're not going to beat themselves generally. So you've got to show up and play clean and beat them. That's how you had to do it against those Yankees. You had to beat them. They weren't going to beat themselves. So are they tough to beat? Yeah. The dynasty Yankees were tough to beat. The current Dodgers are tough to beat. You know what? No crying in baseball. Somebody figure out how to beat them.